So before you start freelancing, you need to do this one thing, because if you don't, it will ruin everything. Okay, ruin everything might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but here's what I mean. So before you even set your rate, you need to understand what your personal and business expenses are. That's why in my profile, I have a hourly rate calculator that calculates all of your expenses so that you can kind of plug it in and get to what your hourly rate is. And this is so important. So after you figured out what your expenses are, how much you need to make in a month to survive and to thrive, and then you need to figure out what your hourly rate is, because the hourly rate is how you calculate your fixed project rates. Let's say you're writing a blog post and you know it's going to take you 2 hours. So you need to figure out how many hours you're going to work in a week, like realistically outside of admin work and the things that you're not paid for as a freelancer working for yourself. And then you need to take that hourly rate and then multiply it by the number of hours you know you're going to spend on a fixed rate assignment in order to get the fixed rate cost. And so I have all of that linked in my profile, but this is why it's so important to figure that out before you start taking on jobs. If you accept jobs that are too far below your hourly rate, then you're not going to be able to make rent that month. You're not going to be able to pay your bills. And so while you're going to need to take some lower paying jobs when you get started, it shouldn't be too far below your hourly rate, because if you start too low, it's going to be really hard to get those clients up to your hourly rate, because I often think that it's easier to get new clients and raise your rate with every new client, which means the clients that you're taking on now need to be at the bare minimum at your base hourly rate. And then every new client, you can start to raise your rates after every successful project. But if you have an Upwork profile, especially, this is really important. If you start too low, people are going to see that you're being paid a certain amount and that's really low. And so they're going to assume that you're going to be doing the same job for the same cost for them. So you need to be starting at the minimum $30, $40, $50 an hour, depending on your level of experience. Because remember, you're paying for your health benefits, your retirement. You've got a lot of other costs baked in that you probably didn't have as an employee. So your rates need to be a lot higher to compensate for that. That's why it's really important to either have a savings cushion or a part-time or full-time job while you're starting freelancing, because you need to find those clients that are going to pay you for what you're worth, and you can't just take on any client. Like, you do need to start with clients that are actually going to value your time, because the clients that are paying 1 cent a word are never going to be worth your time to work with. They will not value you, or any type of freelancing. If they're not going to pay you for your time and your labor, even at the bare minimum scale, then you have to move on. You have to find the clients that actually will pay you for what you're worth. And once you find them and show that you can do good work, they'll keep on hiring you. And so that's how you build your career. You start at a certain level, and it might be a little bit lower in the beginning, but you can raise from there, but you need to at least charge what your monthly expenses are going to be.